Hollow Knight is a Metroidvania action-adventure game developed and published by Team Cherry. In the game, the player controls the Knight, a nameless insectoid warrior. The Knight explores Hollow Nest, a fallen kingdom plagued by a supernatural disease. The game is set in a diverse subterranean locations, and it features friendly and hostile bug-like characters and numerous bosses. Players have the opportunity to unlock new abilities as they explore each location, along with pieces of lore and flavor text that are spread throughout the kingdom. Starting with the positives I have for Hollow Knight, this is just a really fun game to play. I loved exploring through the different locations, fighting new unique enemies and fighting the bosses, upgrading my nail. It was just a fun experience. I had a great time with this game. One of my biggest positives for this game is its visuals. It looks so cool. It's dark, it's creepy, but it also has some bright colors to it. Each location has a unique color pattern to it, and it's all visually appealing. Same would go to the game's sound. The music was awesome. It fit the tone very well, and it was a nice soundtrack to listen to. And also, while the characters are speaking their own language, the voice acting was pretty funny. I really liked Zod, the mighty voice actor. Every time I went up to him, I just laughed because his voice acting was just funny. And speaking of Zod, there's actually quite a few likable characters that you come across throughout this game. Like Cornfear, who is an NPC that will give you a map if you can find him in the location. He's pretty easy to find if you just hear him humming that song. It'll be pretty easy to find him. Now, I could see some people saying that this game was difficult. I say it's fair. There are some challenging parts, but as soon as you get better and as soon as you memorize the maps and how the enemies attack and once you memorize the pattern, not that tough. There are some really tough bosses that you really have to have a lot of patience for, but overall, if you just have the patience and you keep trying, you'll be able to get through this game. I loved fighting the bosses in this game. Some of the bosses aren't as great, and we'll get to that when I get to my negatives, but some of the bosses are just so much fun to fight. I love the Hornet fights. Those were fun. I even liked the Dung Defender fight. I thought that was fun. The Mantis Lord was a fun fight. And going through the Coliseum of Fools, that was a fun time. I played this game on the Nintendo Switch, and it controlled very well. You can also play this game on other modern consoles and PCs, and there is some DLCs that you can get. I didn't get them. I just wanted to get through this game for the review. But the DLC where you can fight the different bosses seems like a lot of fun, and especially when they give them new challenges. The charm system is actually one of my favorite things about this game. It reminded me of the card system from Castlevania Circle of the Moon. You get a ton of charms and you can experiment with a lot of them. Some are better than others, but it's definitely fun to experiment which ones are good, which ones are bad, and which combinations work well with each other. Now I guess I'm going to move over to the negatives, and it's really only just one negative. And while I do praise this game for having some awesome bosses, there are some bosses that are just way too easy, like this guy. Yeah, literally all you do is just stand there and hit him with your sword and then dodge the enemies that he poops out. It's that easy. And there's also bosses where you just literally stand there and you just hit them with your sword and they just bounce back all over the place. Like, there's some really easy bosses where I think they kind of got lazy with. Now granted, some of them did get an upgrade with the DLC with the boss rushes, and that's fine and good, but I wish there was a bit more consistency with the bosses. However, that's my only negative for this game. I really loved Hollow Knight. This was such a fun game to go through. And while I didn't get the 112% for the game, I got about 86% of the game. I do look forward to getting back into it and maybe completing it one day. But I just wanted to beat it so I can get done with a review and stuff like that. It's still an amazing game, regardless if you want to go for a completion or just try to get to the end of the game. I highly recommend it. It's pretty cheap on the Nintendo Switch if you want it digitally. Physically, I think it might be going up in price, so I definitely recommend getting a physical. But either way, however you play this game, definitely check it out. I highly recommend it. This is one of my favorite games I've played. That's going to be it for me. Let me know down below what you thought of Hollow Knight, and I'll catch you later. Big thanks to Ash the Man, Warp8, and Miasma Senpai for supporting me on Patreon. You guys are awesome.